Let the anticipation begin for the 2025 spring training and baseball season. Dana Brown talked about today how they are not leaving anything off the table because they want to make another run, a deep run, another World Series run. Let's get to it right now.
Jainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talks Astros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Brett, where can he find you at?
Thank you for having me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Stros411 on X and on Facebook, and at Back to the Bullpen on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, and iHeartRadio, where I'm always positive. Always Stros. I'm positive that this is a weird feeling being in this position, not talking about the next round.
I know this is something the Astros have not been in quite some years. I think this is 8 years. They're going to ALCS for about 7-8 years in a row, and since 2016 was the last time they were not in ALCS. So this is a weird feeling indeed, but you know what's not a weird feeling? You go and subscribing to us, making us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, becoming everydayer. Somebody that listens to our podcast every day. We do appreciate each one of you, and thank you for staying with us throughout the whole off season. We're not going anywhere, so please don't go anywhere yourself. Today's episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. So, Brett, before we get too deep into all this, I do want to – we didn't do this because we don't normally do this until later on in the offseason, but before we get into the press conference, let's go and talk about the arbitration salaries. So we got Framber Valdez. He is due to make an estimated $17.8 million this next year. Cal Tucker is due to make a $15.8 million next year. Jose Urquidy, he's probably not going to pitch until the middle of the season next year, but he's still expected to get a raise to about $3.75 million. Mauricio Dubon is going expected to make about $4.6 million. He won't pitch until the middle of the year next year. Actually, Luis Garcia should be ready at the beginning of the year, somewhat towards the middle of the beginning of the year. Brian Abreu is due to make about $3.7 million. Chas McCormick is due to make about $3.3 million. Jake Myers $2.2 million. Jeremy Pena is due to make about $4.4 million, and Penn Murphy is due to make about $800,000. So that's all the arbitration eligible players. I know closer down the road, they're going to exchange salary numbers, and anybody that they decide to go to arbitration hearings over, they'll have to go in front of arbiter. But we're not used to talking about this stuff. We're used to talking about, hey, what's the next game? Who's going to be starting next game? And this is just weird feeling.
Yeah. So just kind of dovetail off of what you're talking about. The guys that are unrestricted free agents that are not coming back unless the Astros go after them is Neris, Bregman, Ferguson, Bregman, Gamble, Hayward, Kikuchi, and Justin Verlander. Those are the guys that are free agents. So the Astros have to make decisions on all those. I think Kikuchi is the guy you go after, and I think you make a run after Bregman. Right. Here's what I'm thinking, Eric. They need to have some long-term discussions. They need to have some long-term discussions in this. They need to decide what are they going to do with Framber Valdez, because right now with everybody going off the books. So the 2024 payroll was $244 million. They go back to about $200 million with the free agents coming off the books. Now you are still paying guys that aren't here anymore money that you let them go for, but you're still having to pay them, right? You're still on the hook for some money here or there for guys that aren't in the uniform. Jose Abreu, 2025, you're paying Jose Abreu 19.5. You're paying Rafael Montero 11.5. So there you go. You've got that money that's still there. But going into this next year, you're looking at that. So the payroll estimate right now, the tax payroll estimate, 151 million. I think it goes up to 200 for some other players that aren't listed on here. But you only have about $40 million of room to spread around.
Right.
So Dana Brown talked about trades. Dana Brown talked about getting creative. Dana Brown knows what is ahead. You have in this also, here's the thing, pitching wise, listen to this. Hunter Brown through 28. Blanco and Arrighetti through 29. Murphy, Scott, Diaz. Well, he's not a pitcher. Sorry. And Hader through 28. Diaz through 28. Of course, Altuve through 29. You don't have a pitching problem. I would like to see Kikuchi back. I think he's worth it. Now, he earned himself a lot more money going 9-1 with Houston Astros. Right. So he may have priced himself out. And this is what I want to ask you about. Dana Brown said, we're leaving nothing off the table. We are not leaving any stone unturned. Okay. Here, right here. We aren't taking anything off of the table in terms of what we do as far as making trades or trying to find free agents. The main focus is, would we want to get back as deep as we can go and get back to the World Series? This is what I think they should do. I think they should go hard after, or act like they're going hard after Juan Soto. Now, just hear me out. Go hard after Juan Soto with the outside chance that he does sign with you. He probably won't. He's probably priced himself out. Drive the price up with the New York Yankees. Make his contract ridiculous to where the team that gets him, it's going to hurt them ultimately in the end. And then immediately turn about face and say, Kyle Tucker, you're our guy. Here's your money. And give him the biggest contract that you've given any Houston Astro for 7 years. Give it to him for 7 years. Just do it. Just effing do it. Do it, please. Sign Kyle Tucker and drive the price up on Juan Soto. Get the news out there that you're talking to Juan Soto, that his people are talking to you. And then sign Kyle Tucker. I think Boris needs to be talked to. And I think Jose Altuve needs to go talk to Boris, because Jose Altuve is going to talk to Crane. Now, Jose Altuve is not going to turn into Jeff Bagwell. But I think when he says, well, they're going to leave nothing off the table, like everything's on the table, why wouldn't you do that? I don't know. Or Anthony Santander. I mean, who's going to be out there that's going to garner a big salary, but that would be a huge catch? If you're going to go for the World Series, why wouldn't you go for a Juan Soto? I know it's crazy out of this world, and this is Houston, but why the heck not?
Yeah. Oh, the Astros salary is already going to be estimated at about 204 million. So it's already going to be close to luxury tax threshold anyway. So yes, if you're going to go big and go get another free agent. But outfield is not it's a position of need, but at the same time, I think first base is a position that the Astros desperately need to upgrade. And yes, you have DeZenzo who could play first base, but he hasn't really impressed as much at first base. He may get some more playing time next year. I think the writing's on the wall with John Singleton. I think that he had a replacement, wins above replacement plus, whatever that rating is, of 104. WRC plus, that's what I was trying to say.
There you go.
But
it's okay.
Yeah. But it was above league average, but his defense is not quite there. And if you look at the WAR overall for all the first basemen and Houston Astros uniform in 2024, it was a negative WAR. So first base is a big position you need to upgrade. If Alex Bregman leaves, third base is another position of big upgrade. We'll talk about somebody that you want to put at third base in a second. Yeah. But definitely a situation where you have money to spend if you're willing to go over the luxury tax threshold. But at the same time, if you sign somebody, Christian Walker would be the guy I would go after because I think he would be a big upgrade over anybody you have at first base. But there's just so much. Will Jim Crane do what it takes to get these guys signed? So, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, and go and make us your everyday listen.
This episode is brought to you by Tonal. Tonal is a product that, look, I have to tell you about this because it is this new way of doing workouts. No longer do you have to stress out about going to the gym and getting a trainer and doing all this extra stuff. You can fit a workout right in your home, right at the convenience of being in your own gym, not around other people. It has thousands of workouts you can train with. It has a great system. It's powered by AI. Now, don't freak out because Tonal simply learns every rep so that it can deliver better workouts personalized just for you. It learns your movement, provides suggested weight recommendations for every move with detailed progress reports, then even create personalized programs and workout suggestions and recommendations based on your individual goals. Not somebody else's, not what somebody thinks, but what the technology is telling you. Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques. From professional athletes to moms of three, Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. So right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tonal.com and use a promo code LOCKEDONMLB with $200 off your purchase. Tonal.com. Tonal.com, promo code Locked On MLB for $200 off. Go get ripped today.
So the first luxury tax threshold in 2025 will go up to $241 million. That means that Houston has about $37 million to operate. Let's assuming that Jim Crane doesn't want to cross that. That doesn't really, you're not really going to non-tender any of the arbitration eligible players. That's a good way to cut some money. Parting ways with Justin Verlander, not bringing him back. That's a good way to save some money. But there are some things to kind of work at. But just don't forget that this is what Dana Brown said today. We're going to have to make some wise decisions as to, are there younger players that we can call up and put in certain roles to maybe save some money here and allocate that money to use in other places. I think we're going to have those kinds of conversations, and we may have to get creative.
Yeah, look, the creative part is definitely something that I think we're going to need to pay attention to. And Dana Brown did say maybe we can bring some young people up to save some money. If you don't re-sign Bregman, maybe you move Bryce Matthews over to third. Maybe you have, who was it, Whitcomb, or you have DeCenzo as your first baseman. Whitcomb was third. I don't know that Whitcomb is the guy you want there right now, but you've got some options in the farm. So that could be an option, but I like Eugenio Suarez. He is really the only, I think, really good option out there. This guy had a 7-year contract of $66 million. That is not a big contract. And Eric, this guy, let me make the case for him. He reduced his strikeout rate under 30%. Okay. He was at 30% 2 years in a row. But let me tell you about his home runs: 21, 26, 34, 49, 15, 31, 31, 22, and 30. This guy had 276 home runs in his professional career. He upped his slugging percentage almost 100 points this year. His on-base percentage went down a little bit. His average went up. His WRC plus was 115. His WAR was 3.8. Offensive WAR 10.4. Defensive WAR 5.1. A total WAR of 29.3. That's comparable to Bregman's 34.7. Eugenio Suarez, if he doesn't go back to the Diamondbacks, he may have I think he has a team option. I don't think it's a player option. They can sign him back. But if he ends up being a free agent, that would be a guy that I would look at.
Right.
I mean, if you're not going to sign Bregman, but have you ever seen Alex? Have you ever seen Jose Altuve as definitive and as sure and as like he's coming back, like convinced. Altuve has never done this before.
Right.
He said, yeah, we want Carlos Correa back, but he is all in. And every guy in that clubhouse said the same thing. We want him back. He's going to be back. It's not his last game. Will you tell Jim Crane that? Of course I will.
Yeah, we've heard of players in the past restructuring their contracts, possibly. I don't know if Jose Altuve would do that to maybe allow for more money for Bregman to come, maybe stretch it out a little bit longer. I don't know if Altuve loves Jose Altuve that much, literally loves him that much. But let's say they do let Bregman go. And maybe go and put somebody like Shea Whitcomb. Bryce Matthews has started 21 of his 79 games at third base. He could be optioned at some point to play third base if Shea Whitcomb shows that he's not ready to be the everyday third baseman. But a guy that just hit a clutch home run for the Mets today, he's an impending free agent, Pete Alonso. This is a guy that a lot of people thought the Astros should trade for. He makes a perfect fit for Minute Park with the Crawford boxes. So he would be a big splashy move for Jim Crane. If you lose Alex Bregman, what's the best way to make people forget about Alex Bregman? Go out and do, like you said earlier, Juan Soto, I think, is a little bit out of the reach for the Astros, but somebody like Pete Alonso would be a good catch.
He would be a good catch, and he did actually win the game for the Mets today. He hit a home run to put them ahead. The Brewers hit back-to-back solo shots. It was really fun watching that game. The Milwaukee Brewers won their first home game yesterday since like 1984 in the playoffs. I mean, it's crazy, their drought. And then today, the faces on the fans and the Mets. And of course, all the Mets fans were like, we're cursed. We're the Mets. We're going to lose. And Steve Cohen was like hugging all the players. Francisco Lindor was going off. Pete Alonso, the polar bear, would be a guy to go after, but huge strikeout rate. Is he a great defensive third baseman? I really don't know what he is defensively. And Pete Alonso, isn't that who you're talking about?
First base.
Yeah, he's a first. Oh, you said first base or third?
No, you said third base, I thought.
No. The polar bear is a first baseman. It may have sounded like I said third base. Sorry. No, okay. He's a guy. He's my favorite non-Houston Astros player. He just reminds me of Mark McGwire for whatever reason. I think it's his build, the way he hits his home runs, just unbelievable to watch. He's a fun player. He's a good guy, but I think he's way too much. But with the whole Juan Soto thing, okay, that would be if like you didn't bring back Tucker or you traded Tucker, okay, because Tucker's got 1 year of arbitration. You wouldn't have Soto and Tucker on the same team because they both play right field, and you want to keep Tucker in right field because that's his jam. That's where he plays best. But Eric, I think the hitting coach needs to change, and I can tell you who I think needs to go to the Astros. I think they need a promotion. I think they need to promote their AAA hitting coach. And his name is Aaron Westlake. Aaron Westlake moved up from the Hooks to the Space Cowboys this last year. And what do? They went out and won 93 games. They won their championship. First time it's ever been done by the Space Cowboys. Of course, they're a young organization. But this Aaron Westlake guy knows what he's doing. And I'm sorry. Alex Centrone's had his time. Alex Centrone's been here a long time. Respect the hell out of the guy. I think it's time to move on from the hitting coach. Everybody's saying fire Espada. Espada's not going anywhere. Okay, sorry. Someone said I said third. Well, you know what I meant. Pete Alonso's a first baseman, so I stand corrected. Thank you. But Aaron Westlake would be my pick for hitting coach. And I don't know if you keep Snitker. I don't know if you bring in Westlake and another guy. There is another guy, Bobby Bell, I think is his name, with Corpus. Corpus hit decently this year. They didn't play as well. But why don't you bring some new blood in hitting-wise, Eric? Yeah. I mean, they were so inconsistent. They didn't show up. They didn't make the adjustments. And sometimes a hitting coach is the guy, hey, bring in Westlake and DeRosa from MLB Network. Of course, DeRosa's not going to leave a cush, broadcasting job. But I think he would be a good hitting coach, I wish Dante Bichette would become a hitting coach. Bo Bichette's dad Have you ever heard that guy break down the swing? Or even Lance Berkman? Have you heard him break down a swing? He's not with Houston Christian anymore, I don't think. And so
No, I think
why
he
not?
retired to spend more time with his family. So
Oh,
I
well,
could be
yeah,
wrong. But
okay. Well, you know what, Berkman? Why don't you just stay home and just go into the clubhouse and be a hitting coach? You know, there you go.
Yeah.
I solved the problem.
So I know that a lot of people are going to be saying, well, let's go out and sign Alex Bregman. I know we've been kind of skirting around it, but the question is, will Jim Crane do something that he hasn't done in his whole time with the Houston Astros, like sign somebody to a long-term deal?
Right.
And if you do that, are you choosing basically Alex Bregman over Kyle Tucker? So these are all the things that Dana Brown's having to kind of think about this offseason. So this is the offseason before you have Kyle Tucker and Framber Valdez leave for free agency as well. So guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, and go and subscribe to us, and we'll be right back.
This episode of Locked On Astros is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rival city. Book today at Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Look, go incognito, or heck, just wear all the Astros gear you want to let the hate rain down on you if you're that kind of person, and go hang out in New York. I dare you. Go see the Mets. Go see the Yankees. Well, I would say Milwaukee, but they choked today. Or go to San Diego. Man, San Diego and LA, that is going to be a show. And I promise you, if you go out there, you can find hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more. Because right now, there's no better season than postseason to go explore the outdoors of baseball, that is. With Booking.com's wide variety of choices across America, you can go incognito to your baseball rival city. So go today to Booking.com, who delivers exactly the right U.S. stay for you. It can help you stay close to home or far away, and with with hotels that overlook stadiums and so much more. So right now, get the right stay for you for any U.S. city, even your baseball rival city, at Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. We'll be here throughout the whole offseason to be your first listen. We'll go ahead and keep you updated with all the Astros news, all the rumors, what's going on with the Astros. Dana Brown likes to do a lot of talking during the offseason. Well, we're going to go ahead and offer Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve lifetime deals to become Houston Astros. Well, he did that with Jose Altuve. So now here's his chance. He has like a limited window before Alex Bregman becomes a free agent. And that basically is between now and the end of the World Series. And so him and Scott Boras have a limited amount of time to kind of talk about it, see if they can work out something. And then once he becomes a free agent, other teams are going to jump in. He is the premier third baseman out there. I know Scott Boras made it clear that he can also play second base to kind of appeal to a team like maybe the Red Sox, a team that maybe doesn't need a third baseman, but they could use a second baseman. So there's a lot of interest out there for Alex Bregman, not just for what he's done during the regular season. He's had a lot of great games in the postseason. He is a leader. We saw him going out on the field. And this is what Brown said today. He's been a really good player and been outstanding in terms of helping this team play a lot of postseason games, and he's posted each and every year. So that weighs very heavy. We'll have some discussion with Boras and also Bregman. We'll have some small talk, but ultimately we'll have some discussions. We know what he means to the organization. So the key thing, Brett, is Jim Crane going to do what it takes to get get it done. And you've got to do more than the 6 years, $151 million deal that Matt Chapman got. That's got to be a starting point.
Yeah, Matt Chapman is your floor. I think Alex Bregman deserves the money. I don't know if Jose Altuve is helping the case for the team to sign him when he's like, he deserves to get paid for what he made, for what he did. But I understand Jose's heart in that. Now, something else to think of, and I don't know what the vesting option is, but I believe that it is a mutual option where if Presley wants to come back, he can come back. But have you thought about this? That's $14 million. It's a vesting option. I just looked it up.
Yeah, so it's already vested.
It's already vested, but
Mhm.
he doesn't have to agree to take it, right?
No, it vested. So once it vests, it's good. So he's
Okay.
on the team for next year.
Okay. For some reason, I was
No,
thinking
if it's a mutual option, that means both sides have to agree. But vesting means that it's if he reaches that milestone, then it locks up.
okay. Well, could he, even if it vests? I have a question, like just out of the blue. What if he doesn't want to be here next year? Can he?
He can request a trade.
Okay.
The Astros have already too much dead money just floating around with Jose Abreu.
So if
And
they traded
Rafael
him,
Marquez.
would they be on the hook for that money?
If another team took him, then they would be on the hook for the money. Depends on what they give him. But if they know it's a salary dump or something like that,
well, no,
he has a no trade clause. So yeah,
I know. But what I'm saying is, what if he wants out? I don't know. I just didn't feel like Presley. I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's washed. Someone says he's washed. I don't know if he's washed. I think he hates pitching the eighth now. I think you give Presley. I think you give Hader the eighth in game 2, and you give Presley the ninth. I think things would have gone differently. I really do.
Well, sometimes you gotta just do what you gotta do, and he's getting paid to play baseball, and
yeah, I know he's getting paid. I know he's getting paid to play, and that's where you have your guys, and I get that. But that's one of the things that I think people were critical of Joe Espada for, was he wasn't willing to flip. Like, you could have flipped the script and gone Hunter Brown game 1 and Valdez game 2, or Hunter Brown game 1, Kikuchi game 2, and then if you had a game 3, Framber Valdez. I don't know. Look, I know hindsight's always 2020. I'm trying to get creative. Dana said he's going to be creative, so I'm trying to be creative here with the money.
now can Presley agree to be traded somewhere? Sure,
that's what I'm saying. What if he agrees to be traded?
Right, he could be traded, but after what he did in the postseason and how he was up and down in regular season, he had a great stretch where he was one of the best relievers out there, and he's had this history, and so he does have value, and he could have value next year. Maybe it's just he felt disrespected this year. So
what if he goes? What if Dana goes, Ryan, are you sure you don't want to be traded? What if he says that? I'm joking. Why'd you sit back like that on me?
He's on the team right now. He's going to give it his best. I don't think he sucked this year because he wasn't the closer anymore. I think that he just may not be the same pitcher as he was. He might be declining. So I think I love the graphics that the Chronicle put out. When I say loved, I don't really like it, but it was a good illustration of what the Tigers did. The Astros paid Josh Hader $19 million this year to be the closer. And the entire Tigers roster is getting paid $19 million. But that roster beat Josh Hader.
That roster did beat Josh Hader, but they had the perfect scenario in a 3-game series. They're not going to survive multiple 7-game series. They're not built for it. 5 games, 7 games, that team's not built for it. It would be an absolute shocker to me if Detroit.
They've been doing it this whole second half, though. They've only had one starter.
But we're talking about the playoffs.
I know the playoffs are a whole different ball game, but they beat the team that everybody thought would be going back to the World Series.
Well, we did. I don't know if everybody else
had some. I know we had some faults this year. The Astros were not the best team, and the hitting was off and on. The team didn't have the synergy I thought they did. It just felt like for a stretch there, everything was clicking. But during the playoffs, it just wasn't there. And I think Joe Espada needs to figure out a way to just juggle the hitting lineup.
The Astros and many others, this was a problem right here. These are all injuries, Eric.
Okay.
These are all injuries in 2024. We had 3 guys on the IL with Tommy John. I'm just saying. So, and when you go through, if you go through Fangraphs and look up injuries, you would be shocked. Every team has 2 to 4 pitchers that have had Tommy John the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's an epidemic. It's pathetic, and baseball needs to do something about it. And I don't know how long AJ Hinch is going to be able to do this lineup, or the Rays do this, what they do, because if they're going to go to the 6 inning minimum,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's right. I mean, look, again, yeah, the Tigers not even 19 million, but I will be surprised if with that rotation and having to use their bullpen like that. I don't see how they survive in the long haul with that formula in the playoffs.
Yeah, but guys, we're not going to get all the answers on this podcast. We got all off season to answer these.
Oh,
well, not today.
Podcast. No, well, of course not today.
Yeah.
Eric, I thought this was our 3-hour edition.
No, we're not doing 3-hour edition. It's too late. All right. So, guys, that's all we got for this edition of Locked On Astros podcast. We'll be back all off season for you. We'll be talking what did Dana Brown say, what's going on with Alex Bregman, what's going on with playoffs, and so much more. So go and make us first listen. Go and subscribe to us. Go and help us get to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Don't let the fact that the Astros are out of the playoffs make you not an everydayer. So thank you. And Brett, what did we always say?
Go Stros.
All right, guys, we'll see you on Sunday night, and we'll see you later. Go Stros.
You still had to say it. You still had to say you can't do